Hey guys, and welcome back to the third episode of this Bradford Road to Glory, where we're trying to win the FA Cup with Bradford. That is our ultimate goal. In this series we're making all the signings based on data, and if you want to know how you can start playing Football Manager based on data, go ahead and click the link in the description, which will lead you to a video where I explain everything. With that out of the way, let's check how we did after the last episode, and let me tell you, it was a rough start, but we managed to turn it around so far very nicely. As you can see, last episode we did lose a lot of games, and then suddenly we started to get some more team cohesion. They started to know the tactic, and as you can see, it really started working right after this Oxford City win in the FA Cup first round. We only lost against Exeter in the FA Cup second round, and after that an unbeaten streak, as you can see, of 7 games here, which is absolutely insane, which means that in the League 2, we're currently in 9th position, and as you can see right here, we were as low as 18th, and then slowly but surely we're climbing up, and what's the most insane thing to see is we're 9th right here, but if you go to the XG table, we should be in 3rd position, so that means that actually we're just not having the luck that we need, but hopefully in the rest of the season we'll pick it up, we'll get more wins, and the XG will actually start working for us. As for the other competitions, you could see that in the English FA Cup we got knocked out by Exeter, which isn't too bad. They are a League 1 side. It was very close, but unfortunately we didn't make it, so this year no FA Cup win for us. In the Carabao Cup we got knocked out by the Bolton Wanderers, which isn't anything bad either, since they're also in League 1 and actually 3rd in League 1, which means that they're very close to championship level, and we are not there yet anyway. However, in the Bristol Street Motors Trophy we've done very well. In the group stage we did exceptionally well, winning all the games, and then after that we have been routed against Accrington, also in League 2, who we quite handily beat. Then now we have been routed against Lincoln, and as you can see, we are not the only League 2 club in here, so if we manage to beat Lincoln and then draw either Morecambe or Grimsby, we would be very well on our way to actually making the quarterfinals of the Bristol Street Motors Trophy, which would be very nice indeed. Anyway, that's not the main goal for this season. The main goal for the season is to get promoted to League 1 and to make sure that we get a little bit more money to make sure we can buy and get some better players into our team. This episode I will show you how I do the scouting and how I decide which player I want to get into my team based on the data sheet that I use. Throughout the episode I'll be making some signings, and when I make these signings I will revert back to the data sheet to show you what choices I made to bring a player in or to let a player go. Hey, 93.5% of you are not subscribed to my channel yet. Please do consider subscribing, as it really helps me out a ton and it keeps me motivated to make more awesome content. With that out of the way, let's move on to the video. Let's start with 2 players that I've actually already brought in before the transfer window started, because I thought they were very good value for money deals. Firstly, Luca Ashby-Hammond. This guy, backup goalkeeper on 3.6k a week, which is quite a lot, but I hope that this guy can perform well and eventually become our first starting keeper. However, he does still need to improve a lot. Brought him in for only 10k by the way, so a very cheap deal. And then other than that, Jake Vokins, another left back, a very good left back on 2k a week, so not very expensive. Brought him in for 20k from Southampton, which is actually very nice. Physically good, technically good, mentally good for this level. However, he should still improve a little bit, but this guy is also going to be a very good player for the club, and let me show you in the datasheet where these players rank. So here we are in the datasheet, and as you can see, the 2 new players have been marked in blue. Of course, before I brought them to Bradford, I put their data into the Excel sheet to calculate how good they actually were, and after that I only brought them into the team. Let's start with the goalkeeper position. So right here we go to sweeper keeper, we select largest to second largest, and we see here Heath Richardson. I've actually already let him go, so we can go ahead and remove him from the sheet, and then you see that Luca Ashby-Hammond is at 10.2, so he's almost as good as Sam Walker already. So what I will do for now is I will put him as goalkeeper in the rest, but if we're actually at the end of the season and we have some extra playing time for Luka, then I will play him because he's 22 years old. He still has a lot of potential in him, and he is almost as good as Sam Walker. Then I will go ahead and make his name white in a little bit, but before that, let's also take a look at Jake Volkins. So as you can see, Jake Volkins is our second best wingback in the club now, and that is very good to see. What I will do right then is I will make him the starting wingback, and that does mean that either Brett Halliday or Alex Gillihat will not be a starting wingback anymore. What I will do is I will probably make Halliday a wingback in the reserves, since he is a lot worse than Alex Gillihat. Of course, for each position you need a starter and a backup, and that's the same for the wingback position. Since Brett Halliday has now moved to the wingback in the reserves, that does mean that the other two who were previously wingbacks in the reserves we don't need anymore. That does mean that Liam Gillihalk, who you see here, will no longer be our wingback in the reserves, and he will actually be able to sell him. Of course, before I do that, I will check if he's not good enough to be a backup in, for example, the defensive midfield position or the ball playing defender position, but it sounds very unlikely that Liam Hiddegalk will actually stay in our team. Since the transfer window has started and it's the second transfer window, I could recall some players that the game already loaned out for me. I recalled Luke Henry, Timmy Odusina and Vadine Oliver just because I could either use them or I just want to get rid of them to make sure that we have a clean team to work with for the next season. From the three players that you just saw me recall, all three of them are going to leave the club again. Luke Henry, Oliver and Timu Odusina? Sorry, that was very hard to pronounce. Anyway, they are going to be leaving the club. Adam Wilson, Liam Ridgehalt, Matty Derbyshire and Andy Cook are still on the nomination to leave the club as well. Andy Cook is actually a very good player, but he's on almost 6k a week, and that's just way too much for a player who isn't even a starter. So I decided to sell him on, although he's still very good for the team. I just would rather have the wage budget for him than have to waste anything on that, since he's just not getting any playing time. The transfer window has unfortunately ended and we didn't make any new sales. That is because the board decided that our finances were so bad that they had to reduce our transfer budget. For the 50k in the transfer budget that we had, we couldn't get any new players, so fortunately we're not making any more changes. However, the new player that we brought in, Volkins, already is doing very well, with 4 assists and 1 goal in 5 games in that wingback position, so very happy with him in. As well as SB Hammond, who's currently not got any playing time, but of course we're going to give that to him a lot more this season. Anyway, this is the team that is going to try to finish in the promotion spots for League 1. In the competition, we're currently still 9th with a very mixed run, losing against Colchester, who are in 1st, and also losing against Crew, who I think were in 8th, so they were a direct contender for us. We also had some more wins, so we're not doing too badly. However, we did get knocked out in the Bristol Motors Trophy by Barnsley. I'm going to be simming all the way through once again to the end of the season, and let's hope that we reach the promotion so we can play a few more games and hopefully claim that promotion to League 1. However, it's going to take a very long time for us to do that, so don't get your hopes up, but we'll try our best. I did also promise to show you how I do my scouting, and this is it. If you go to Football Manager, you have a view and you can import that view right here to the data sheet. You paste the data, then it shows you all of these values per player, per age, and how good they are in each position. You then put them in the compare tab, and right here you'll see how good some players were. So for example, if we were to be looking for a new wingback, you will see that right here we have an 11.4 on Ryan Rydell. I was going to get him in, but unfortunately at the end we didn't have enough transfer budget. He would have been our starting wingback, and why do I want to bring him in? Well, this guy, his contract was expiring, he wasn't actually that expensive, he was only 100k, and he is way better than the current wingback that we have. So that would have meant that Jake Vokins wasn't going to be playing the wingback anymore, but I think what I would have done is I would have removed Gillyhead, since he is already 27 years old, and I would have played Ryan Rydell in his place. Anyway, the same can be done once again for the ball playing defenders. I could have chosen to bring in Jordan Brown right here, but he didn't want to join because he thought that League 2, he's currently playing in League 1, he thought that League 2 wasn't a good career step for him. That is how I sign my players. And that is how I analyze which players I want to bring in and which players I want to let go of. Unfortunately, some of the players we wanted to sell on didn't actually get sold on, such as Oliver and Andy Cook, who are on a combined 10k a week. So we want to be able to make sure that we can sell them next season, because they really pressing on the wage budget. Other than that, Derbyshire and Wilson are still two players who I would like to leave the club, because we don't really use them. And for Derbyshire, it's okay, because his contract is ending at the end of this season. Anyway, let me just quickly show you which players did actually leave the club. And those players were Riede Hulk, Henry and Odesina, three of the players that I actually loaned out at first. So Odesina left to Blackpool, Luke Henry left to Swindon, and Riede Hulk left to Southend. Very happy with these three leaving the club, since it makes that we have a lot cleaner squad and you actually get more overview of which players you want to be at the club. If we take a look then at the tactics, it looks something like this, with Stubbs, Sharing and Platt in the defense, Sharing our newest signing, doing very well there, Walker in goal, Vokins our newest signing on the left and Gillyhead on the right, Smallwood as our defensive midfielder, but he has been injured for the past 3 to 4 months, which hasn't really helped his attributes unfortunately, so we've been playing Kennedy a lot. I'm really happy I brought this guy in at the beginning of this season, because he is getting some playing time now and he is very developing nicely. Other than that, Walker and Pedersen on the left and the right. Walker on the left, last year of his contract, not sure if I'm going to keep him, might let him leave and bring in someone better, because he hasn't really been performing well either way. Then up top, Kavanagh and Young, very happy about these guys. They are improving a lot. Kavanagh scoring 13 goals already and Young doing very well with 5 goals, 2 assists and a very good rating. Then on the bench, Cal Taylor, who we brought in, Kelly, Ash Taylor, Kennedy, which we already mentioned, Halliday, Chapman, Tyler Smith, which I also very like, and then of course Odur as well, who was on the African Cup of Nations with Kenya, 7 caps this guy has, playing in League 2 but still playing for a national team. Very, very impressive. That's going to be it for this episode of the Bradford City rebuild. We did sign 2 players who are once again improving our team. We're going to try to reach the promotion spots for the League 1. However, it's going to be very hard to get promoted this season, but we'll try our best. Let's hope that in the next transfer window we get a bit more transfer budget to work with. Some big money players are leaving the club who have insane wages. I'm going to try my best to make sure that they leave. Anyway, if you have any challenges that you want me also to do in this series, because we're only buying players younger than 24, please leave them in the comments down below. I'll have a look at them and I can maybe use them once again in the next series, or I will introduce them into this one. Anyway, once again, I hope you've enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe down below if you want to see more, and I hope to see you in the next episode of the Bradford City rebuild.